A red flashing traffic light has the same meaning as A. Solid red light. B. Stop sign. C. Yield sign. D. Caution sign. B. Stop sign. A red flashing traffic signal has the same meaning as a stop sign. When approaching a red flashing signal, come to a complete stop and proceed when it is safe to do so. A stop sign may sometimes also be posted where this signal is located. You may pass another vehicle if the line dividing your lane from the lane you wish to enter as a fill in the blank line. A. Broken white. B. Double solid yellow. C. Solid yellow. D. Solid white. A. Broken white. White lines separate traffic lanes traveling in the same direction. You may cross broken white lines to pass, as long as the passing lane is clear. The best way to avoid hydroplaning is to A. Keep your tires properly maintained. B. Slow down when roads are wet or slushy. C. Watch out for standing water or puddles. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. When roads are wet, cars take a longer distance to stop and may skid on quick turns. Do not use cruise control when driving under wet or icy conditions. Reduce your speed and drive with caution. To be safe when crossing a railroad, you should A. Look both ways, but only when the red light is flashing. B. Listen, look both ways, and then proceed if it is safe to do so. C. Cross especially quickly when a train is approaching. D. Quickly pass under any lowering gates. B. Listen, look both ways, and then proceed if it is safe to do so. Railroad crossings are always dangerous. Drivers should look and listen for an approaching train coming from either direction before proceeding across the tracks. Watch for signals indicating an approaching train and never proceed until you are certain it is safe to do so.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
Which is not a factor in determining the distance that it takes to stop your vehicle. A. Steering ability. B. Braking distance. C. Reaction distance. D. Perception time. A. Steering ability. The distance required to stop your vehicle depends on perception time, reaction distance, and braking distance. This changes with speed and road conditions. An end school zone sign indicates A. That the speed limit is 20 miles per hour. B. The beginning of a reduced speed zone. C. The increased possibility of encountering pedestrians. D. The end of a reduced speed zone. D. The end of a reduced speed zone. Do not exceed the school zone speed limit during indicated times. The end of a reduced speed school zone will be indicated by an end school zone regulatory sign. At a light rail intersection, always A. Look both ways before crossing tracks. B. Pay attention and obey all traffic signals. C. Share the road with pedestrians and bicyclists. D. All of these. D. All of these. You should never drive around lowered crossing gates. Always look both ways before turning across train tracks and always obey signs and traffic signals. Trains share the road with motor vehicles and bicyclists. When should drivers use their parking brake? A. Every time they park. B. Only when parking on an incline. C. Only when parked in a driveway. D. Never. A. Every time they park. Whenever you park, always turn off the engine and set the parking brake. Take the keys and lock your vehicle. Do not rely on the transmission to hold your vehicle in place. You may cross double solid yellow lines. A. To pass a slow-moving truck. B. To turn into a driveway. C. To pass another car. D. Under no conditions. B. To turn into a driveway. Double solid lines indicate that you may not pass or change lanes. You cannot cross the lines unless it is to turn left to enter or exit a highway, to turn into or from a driveway, or to make a U-turn where permitted. After stopping for a school bus that is unloading children. A. Do not proceed until the children wave to you. B. Watch for children walking along the side of the road. C. Accelerate quickly. D. Turn on your emergency flashers. This sign means A. Curve ahead. B. Roadwork ahead. C. Merging traffic. D. No left turn. A. Curve ahead. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign alerts drivers to an upcoming curve in the road. Hydroplaning is usually caused by A. Excessive stops. B. Sudden stops. C. Sudden turns. D. Excessive speed. D. Excessive speed. Your tires become less effective at clearing water from the road as you increase your speed. If you drive too fast, they may lose their grip entirely, leaving the vehicle sliding on a film of water. This is known as hydroplaning. Traffic signals sometimes display arrows to control turns from specific lanes. A green arrow A is used only on one-way streets. B has the same meaning as a circular green traffic light, but traffic must turn in the direction indicated by the arrow. C means that you may proceed, but only if the green arrow is accompanied by a circular green light. D points the way to an airport. B has the same meaning as a circular green traffic light, but traffic must turn in the direction indicated by the arrow. A green arrow has the same meaning as a circular green traffic light, but traffic in the indicated lane must turn in the direction shown by the arrow. When driving on an interstate. A. Stop on the shoulder of the road if you are tired. B. You should always use cruise control. C. Signal, check mirrors, and check blind spots before changing lanes. D. You should change lanes often. C. Signal, check mirrors, and check blind spots before changing lanes. Signal, check your mirrors, and check your blind spot before changing lanes or passing on an interstate. Only stop on the shoulder of the interstate in the case of an emergency and change lanes as infrequently as possible. Cruise control should not be used in heavy traffic or under poor weather conditions. If you are driving near a motorcycle, you must A. Allow the motorcycle to use a complete lane. B. Drive on the shoulder beside the motorcycle. C. Allow the motorcycle to use only half of a lane. D. Pass using the same lane as the motorcycle. A. Allow the motorcycle to use a complete lane. A motorcycle is a full-size vehicle with the same privileges as any other vehicle on the roadway. You should allow a motorcyclist a full lane width. Although it may seem as though there is enough room in the traffic lane for a larger vehicle and a motorcycle, remember that the motorcycle needs room to maneuver safely. This sign means A. One-way traffic. B. Divided highway ahead. C. Two-way traffic. D. Keep left. B. Divided highway ahead. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped with black markings on a yellow background. They alert drivers to upcoming hazards. This warning sign indicates that drivers are about to encounter a divided highway. This sign means A. Watch for trucks. B. Do not pass trucks. C. Truck parking area ahead. D. Steep downgrade ahead. D. Steep downgrade ahead. This sign warns of the presence of a hill ahead. A flashing red light on a traffic signal means A. The same thing as a stop sign. B. The traffic signal is broken. C. You do not have to come to a complete stop. D. Driving conditions are dangerous. A. The same thing as a stop sign. A flashing red light means the same thing as a stop sign. If you encounter a flashing red light, you should come to a complete stop, yield to appropriate traffic and pedestrians, and only proceed when it is safe to do so. This sign means A. No right turns. B. Right turns are permitted. C. Stop before turning right. D. Sharp curve ahead. A. No right turns. A regulatory sign displaying a red circle with a red slash through the middle indicates that a specific action is prohibited. Right turns are not permitted where this sign is posted. If a transit vehicle is signaling to re-enter the main roadway following a stop, you must A. Honk to let them know you're there. B. Move to the left lane. C. Yield. D. Speed up to pass. C. Yield. You must yield to any transit vehicle that is signaling to pull back onto the main roadway after it has stopped to load or unload passengers. Change lanes, slow down, or stop to allow the bus safe re-entry into traffic. You are stopped in a line of vehicles waiting at a stop sign. If there is no cross traffic after the vehicles ahead have passed through the intersection, you A. May proceed through the intersection without stopping again. B. Must stop again at the stop sign or stop line before proceeding. C. May slowly roll past the stop sign. D. May follow the vehicle directly ahead of you without stopping. B. Must stop again at the stop sign or stop line before proceeding. You must always bring your vehicle to a complete stop and yield to approaching traffic before proceeding past a stop sign. Don't feel pressured by surrounding traffic to avoid making a complete stop. Passing is prohibited. A. On hills and curves. B. At intersections. C. At railroad crossings. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Locations where it is unlawful and unsafe to pass another vehicle include hills, curves, intersections, and railroad crossings. You want to turn left at an intersection. The light is green but oncoming traffic is heavy. You should A. Use the next intersection. B. Wait at the crosswalk for traffic to clear. C. Wait in the center of the intersection for traffic to clear. D. Take the right of way since you have a green light. C. Wait in the center of the intersection for traffic to clear. When making a left turn where there is approaching traffic, you must wait for the approaching traffic to go through before you turn. You may enter the intersection to prepare for your left turn if the light is green and no other vehicle ahead of you plans to make a left turn. You may park or stop along the shoulder of the freeway. A. As long as you turn on your four-way emergency flashers. B. If no part of your vehicle is on the road. C. If you need to look at a map for directions. D. Only if you have an emergency. D. Only if you have an emergency. It is prohibited to park on the shoulder of a freeway, except in an emergency. What kinds of drugs can affect your driving ability? A. Allergy medicine. B. Marijuana. C. Cold remedies. D. All of these choices. D. All of these choices. Many kinds of drugs can impair your ability to drive. This includes illegal drugs and legal prescription or over-the-counter medications. It can be a criminal offense to drive while impaired by any drug. Alcohol causes A. Loss of concentration. B. Poor coordination. C. Slower judgment. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Consuming even a small amount of alcohol will impair your vision, judgment, concentration, and coordination. Signaling your intentions before turning, changing lanes, or driving away from a curb. A. Is necessary only if other traffic is present. B. Is a good driving habit and is required by law. C. Is necessary only during the maneuver, not before. D. Is not necessary if the maneuver is done slowly. B. Is a good driving habit and is required by law. When changing lanes or turning, signal your intentions well in advance. The law requires that you signal for at least 100 feet before you move your vehicle to the right or left. Before pulling away from a curb, always signal to inform passing drivers of your intentions. Smoking and preparing to smoke while driving. A. Do not affect driving abilities. B. Help maintain driver alertness. C. Are distracting activities. D. Are not distracting activities. C. Are distracting activities. Smoking while driving can create dangerous distractions by causing you to take your hands off the wheel and/or your eyes off the road. This sign is a A. Service sign. B. Regulatory sign. C. Warning sign. D. Stop sign. C. Warning sign. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped and yellow with black lettering or symbols. They warn drivers about special situations or potential hazards ahead. If two drivers arrive at the same time to a four-way intersection controlled by stop signs. A. The driver on the right has the right of way. B. The driver on the left has the right of way. C. One driver may continue driving without stopping. D. One driver should honk to indicate that they are giving up the right of way. A. The driver on the right has the right of way. Yield the right-of-way to the driver on your right at a four-way intersection if you both arrive to the intersection at the same time. You may then proceed when it is safe to do so. You are driving in the right lane on an expressway. You should move into the left lane when A. Traffic is heavy but moving steadily. B. The weather is bad and roads are slippery. C. Traffic is slow in your lane and cars are in the left lane. D. Traffic is light and cars are merging onto the expressway from the right. D. Traffic is light and cars are merging onto the expressway from the right. You should always watch for merging vehicles when on an expressway. Adjusting your speed or moving into another lane will ensure that other drivers can enter smoothly and safely. A solid white line on the right edge of the highway slants in to the left. That shows that A. There is an intersection just ahead. B. You are approaching a construction area. C. You will be required to turn left just ahead. D. The road will get narrower. D. The road will get narrower. A solid line along the side of the road indicates where its edge is, marking the boundary between the travel lane and the shoulder. If the edge line angles toward the center of the road, this means that the road is narrower ahead. A leaky exhaust system in your vehicle is dangerous because it can cause A. A loss of hearing. B. Pollution. C. Carbon monoxide poisoning. D. Poor engine performance. C. Carbon monoxide poisoning. The exhaust system carries exhaust gas out of the vehicle and prevents fumes from entering into the passenger compartment. To prevent carbon monoxide poisoning, keep your exhaust system free of leaks. Replace all defective parts immediately. Two solid yellow lines on the pavement mean A. Passing is allowed for drivers from both directions. B. Passing is not allowed. C. Passing is allowed if you are at the top a hill. D. Passing is allowed during daylight only. If you reach an intersection where you wish to turn but you are not in the proper lane, you should A. Quickly cut across traffic to make your turn. B. Turn on your blinker and make the turn from your current lane. C. Drive to the next intersection and make your turn then. D. Safely change lanes then put your vehicle in reverse to go back to the intersection. C. Drive to the next intersection and make your turn then. Never make last-minute turns. If you reach an intersection where you wish to turn but you are not in the proper lane to make the turn, drive to the next intersection and then make the turn from the proper lane. When driving in bad weather, drivers should A. Increase their speed to reach their final destination more quickly. B. Decrease their following distance. C. Increase their following distance. D. None of the above. C. Increase their following distance. When driving on wet roads, drivers should increase their following distance. When parallel parking, you should park within fill in the blank inches of the curb. A. 24. B. 20. C. 18. D. 12. D. 12. When parallel parking your vehicle, your wheels should be within 12 inches of the curb. Only park where you will not be disruptive to traffic and where drivers can clearly see your vehicle from every direction. A driver can legally pass on the right side of another vehicle? A. If the vehicle is waiting to turn left and there is an available passing lane. B. Even if it means driving off the pavement. C. On a narrow bridge. D. At any time. A. If the vehicle is waiting to turn left and there is an available passing lane. If there is an available passing lane, you may pass on the right of a vehicle or bicycle that is turning left or waiting to turn left. It is also legal to pass on the right when driving on a multi-lane road with 2 or more lanes traveling in the same direction. You may never drive off the pavement or main traveled portion of the road to pass another vehicle. While driving, you come upon a sign displaying the words "Reduced speed, 35 miles per hour." This means A. That the new 35 miles per hour speed limit begins at this sign. B. That the new 35 miles per hour speed limit begins at the next speed limit sign. C. That you have plenty of time to slow down before the reduced speed zone. D. That you should reduce your speed to 35 miles per hour, but only under poor weather conditions. A. That the new 35 miles per hour speed limit begins at this sign. Reduced speed signs inform drivers that they must reduce their speeds. If a new speed limit is posted on one of these signs, the new speed limit begins at the sign. When passing on a multi-lane highway. A. Be sure the passing lane is clear. B. Pass only on the right. C. Watch for oncoming traffic. D. There is no need to signal. A. Be sure the passing lane is clear. Before passing, you must make sure the passing lane is clear and give the proper turn signal to show you are going to change lanes. This road sign means A. Road widens ahead. B. Lane reduction, the right lane ends soon. C. Highway entrance ramp ahead. D. Lane reduction, the left lane ends soon. B. Lane reduction, the right lane ends soon. This sign indicates that the right lane ends ahead. Which of the following about winter driving is not true? A. Winter is the most difficult driving season. B. Checking your vehicle's antifreeze and windshield washer fluid levels is especially important during the winter. C. Using cruise control in winter weather is a safe thing to do. D. It is best to use snow tires on your vehicle. When making a turn, you must fill in the blank. Your speed. A. Increase. B. Maintain. C. Vary. D. Reduce. D. Reduce. When turning, you should reduce to a speed that allows you to maintain control of your vehicle, stay in your lane, and react to unexpected situations. Work zone signs mean A. It is summer. B. You must immediately stop and back up. C. Less than ideal conditions are present for driving. D. You should drive faster to get out of the work zone. C. Less than ideal conditions are present for driving. Work zone signs are orange and indicate that some type of work is being performed on or alongside the roadway. Be extremely careful when you see these signs. A "no stopping" sign means that, unless directed to do so by a police officer, you may stop only. A. Long enough to unload packages. B. To avoid conflict with other traffic. C. To discharge passengers. D. for less than 5 minutes. B. To avoid conflict with other traffic. A "no stopping" sign means you can only stop to obey a traffic signal, to obey a police officer, or to prevent a conflict with another vehicle. When approaching a traffic signal displaying a flashing yellow arrow, drivers A. should merge into a lane in the direction of the arrow. B. should come to a complete stop. C. may turn left after yielding to oncoming traffic and pedestrians. D. have the right of way and may expect oncoming traffic to stop for them. C. may turn left after yielding to oncoming traffic and pedestrians. A flashing yellow arrow indicates that left turns are allowed in the direction of the arrow. However, the oncoming traffic has a green light and you must yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians. If an oncoming driver is heading toward you in your lane, you should A. blow your horn, steer right, and accelerate. B. blow your horn, steer left, and brake. C. blow your horn, steer right, and brake. D. stay in the center of your lane, blow your horn, and brake. C. blow your horn, steer right, and brake. If another vehicle is approaching you head-on in your lane, you should first honk your horn to attract attention. If the other driver does not move over, try to escape to the right. If you swerve left and the other driver corrects at the last instant, you will still crash. If a collision is unavoidable, brake firmly and steadily. Every mile per hour you slow down will reduce the impact. This sign means A. highway changes ahead and to the right. B. hiking trails ahead and to the right. C. hotel ahead and to the right. D. hospital ahead and to the right. D. hospital ahead and to the right. This sign indicates that hospital emergency services are located to the right. Before changing lanes on a multi-lane highway, you should A. sound your horn. B. turn on your headlights. C. reduce your speed. D. check your mirrors and blind spots. D. check your mirrors and blind spots. Before changing lanes, you should look in your rear view and side mirrors to make sure no one is trying to pass you. You should also look over your shoulder to make sure that no one is in your blind spot. This sign means A. trucks under 18,000 pounds. Allowed. B. hill ahead. C. truck stop ahead. D. no trucks allowed. B. hill ahead. This sign warns that there is a steep hill ahead.